Take a moment to breathe deeply. Let the weight of the day slip quietly from your shoulders. Feel the cool breeze of the Nile drifting across your skin like linen. Hear the slow, lazy rustle of reeds swaying at the riverbank, the soft bubbling of water lapping against stone. The sun is low, casting gold across the warm sand, and the world moves gently around you now. Everything outside this moment can wait. You are safe, you are still, and the sounds of a distant world, ancient and serene, begin to hum softly around you. There's a calmness rising from the earth, carried by the slow pulse of memory, and it invites you to drift back through time. Our story today begins in the land of the black soil, Kemet, what we now call ancient Egypt, on a quiet morning more than 4,000 years ago. The sky is painted in soft hues of lavender and clay, and the first rays of sunlight stretch across the wide, calm river Nile. In the distance, the triangular silhouette of the Great Pyramid pierces the pale horizon. It is still being built, its layers slowly reaching up toward the gods. Beneath its rising form, thousands of men stir from sleep, their backs aching, their hands warm, their minds already drifting to the day's labor. But they do not stir in chains. They are not slaves. They are free men, peasants, craftsmen, and farmers, offering their time to a vision of eternity. You are among them. You sleep on a mat of woven reeds in a workers' village not far from the base of the pyramid. The air smells faintly of dust and barley. Somewhere nearby, a fire crackles, warming a pot of beer porridge, a thick, nourishing mixture made from soured barley and lentils, sweetened faintly with honey. It's your breakfast, and it waits for you like a friend. The sun is not yet harsh, and the gentle call of ibis birds echoes in the distance as you sit up, stretch, and run your fingers through the grit of your hair. This place is not a prison. It is not what some will one day imagine. It is a village alive with laughter, curses, clanging tools, and smoke curling from clay ovens. You are here on rotation, summoned by duty, given shelter, food, beer, and the company of other men like yourself. Your family waits back in your village, tending to the fields left behind. You will return to them when your term is finished. But for now, you belong to something larger, a vision inscribed in limestone, a monument to a king who will never die. The path from your dwelling to the worksite is wide and busy. Oxen groan under the weight of stone, while men with sun-browned shoulders chant in rhythm as they haul ropes and pull sleds. Some carry copper tools. Others smooth limestone with polished dolerite hammers. The smell of sweat is everywhere, but so is pride, because everyone knows the pyramid isn't just for the king. It's for the people, too. Their names are etched into it, not formally, not with permission, but scratched into blocks hidden from royal view. Tiny hieroglyphs left behind like whispers in stone, some crude, some clever. One simply reads, "The drunkards of Menkaure." Another, a complaint about a foreman's laziness. You smile, because your gang has a name. Toot the friends of Khufu, and you've already hidden your own message in a crevice deep in the heart of the structure. Someday, someone might find it. Or maybe not. That doesn't matter. What matters is the act, the trace, the silent reminder that you were here and that you mattered. The wind picks up slightly as you reach the ramp, a wide, sloped causeway leading upward, higher and higher. The higher you climb, the more the wind changes. It whistles between blocks and cools the sweat on your neck. You can see the Nile sparkling in the distance now, a ribbon of silver threading through a golden sea of sand. Everything looks small from up here. Even the foreman yelling instructions seems softened by the height. You join your team, hauling a thick rope attached to a sled carrying one of the smaller limestone blocks, only a few hundred pounds. Nothing like the granite beasts down at the base, which come from Aswan hundreds of miles away. Those blocks are rare and sacred, meant for the king's inner chambers. Yours are for the visible layers, lighter, brighter, meant to glow in the sun. The process is repetitive, but there's comfort in rhythm. Haul, step, haul, breathe, pause. You sing work songs passed down from your father's father. They are songs of praise and grit, of donkeys and dust, of barley fields and the arms of sweethearts waiting by the river. The words don't matter much anymore. It's the cadence, the beat beneath your bones that pushes you on, that makes you part of a living machine, a human machine of stone and sun and sweat. Later in the day, you rest beneath a scrap of woven cloth, its shade just enough to let your heart beat slow. Someone passes a jug of beer. It's thick, sour, and gritty with sediment, but it cools your throat. You chew on onions and salted fish, feeling the salt settle into your limbs. Someone nearby is carving a scarab from turquoise, his fingers delicate and sure. Others are napping, their backs pressed to the cool face of a limestone block, arms folded over their eyes. The air hums with flies and muttered jokes. You think of your wife back home, your children playing in the dust. You wonder if the barley has come in yet, or if the goats have given birth. Your body aches, but your spirit is fed. Because this pyramid, this impossible mountain, is more than just a tomb. It is the memory of a king, yes, but also a map of what people can do when they believe in something beyond themselves. It is eternity, shaped one stone at a time by hands like yours. Evening falls slowly, gently, the light softening like a faded dream. You wash your arms in a basin, the water cool and refreshing. Fires flicker to life around the village, and the smell of lentils cooking drifts through the dusk. Somewhere a flute plays a lonely, reedy tune, and the stars begin to reveal themselves, one by one, in the endless desert sky. You close your eyes. The wind is cooler now. The pyramid looms in the near distance, unfinished but already eternal. You feel the sand beneath you, the breath of sleeping men, the deep, quiet pulse of something ancient, enduring, and slow. You are part of it now, a thread in a tapestry no one will ever fully see. But it is enough to have touched it, enough to have helped it rise. Sleep now. Let the story hold you. Let the dust settle. Let the weight of the stone become the moon is gentle tonight, casting pale light over the workers' village, wrapping the huts and stone paths in a silver calm. You lie on your mat again, your body warm from the fire and heavy with a satisfying kind of ache. Around you, the quiet breathing of men lulls you further into stillness. Their rhythms blend with the night sounds, the low creak of leather ropes drying on wooden pegs, the soft murmur of palm leaves stirring, and the hush of distant jackals calling from the edge of the desert. Above, the stars form old, familiar shapes, constellations once worshipped as gods. You feel small beneath them, yet not forgotten. You are exactly where you're meant to be. Let yourself breathe slower. Feel the air drift in and out like the tide of the Nile. Let your body rest and let the night wrap around you like linen. The next day begins before the sky is fully bright. There is a rustle in the air movement, shuffling feet, soft grumbles, and quiet greetings passed between workers. You rise with them, stretching the stiffness from your limbs, and splash cool water across your face. The chill is bracing, but it awakens you without jarring you. The village smells again of beer porridge and fire smoke. You eat quietly, savoring each warm bite, grateful for the way the barley settles your stomach before a long day of work. You are part of a crew today tasked with stone alignment, one of the more delicate duties at the site. Every block must sit perfectly atop the last, with barely enough room for a blade of grass between them. The ancient architects, the overseers of construction, rely on your crew to place each stone with reverence and precision. There's no mortar here, only balance, weight, and the hands of men who know stone like they know the lines in their palms. You walk beside your team to the work site, passing half-cut blocks still lying on the sleds. Some are marked with red ochre symbols code for where they'll be placed. Others are untouched, waiting for assignment. The sun is higher now, bathing the world in sharp light. You tie linen cloth around your head and shoulders, creating a shield against the glare. The pyramid itself looks different at this hour. It no longer glows. Instead, it looms vast and solemn, like a sleeping god made of stone. And still it grows. Still it calls. Still it waits. The ramp is steeper this morning. You and your crewmates climb in a line, tools hanging from your belts. You carry a wooden lever, a chisel, and a small copper tool, worn smooth by years of use. You don't speak as you work. The pyramid demands silence, focus, harmony. One man calls out gentle instructions, and you respond with nods and movement. The block is in place. You guide it gently into alignment, using nothing but touch, sight, and the faintest hum of instinct passed down through generations. Hours pass this way. The rhythm is hypnotic. Move, measure, adjust, rest. Repeat. It's like a prayer with no words. The heat rises, but so does your spirit. Because when you step back and see your line of stone nestled perfectly into the face of the pyramid, you know that this is sacred. No one will ever know your name, but your hands helped build a mountain. At midday, the overseers call for rest. You walk back down the ramp, your knees slightly trembling, your chest slick with sweat. Beneath a shaded cloth, water is shared in wide ceramic jars. You drink deeply, wiping your mouth with your sleeve. A boy, no more than 12, offers figs from a woven basket. You take one and thank him with a nod. The fig is soft and sweet, and it melts on your tongue. Around you, other men stretch out in the shade, some half asleep, others cleaning tools or humming soft work songs to themselves. One man tells a story quietly so as not to disturb the resting. It's about a snake god who lives beneath the desert, who sleeps until disturbed by noise or greed. Another man responds with a tale of a worker who disappeared beneath the pyramid and returned with gold and madness in his eyes. These are not stories to be feared. They are part of the fabric of your days, a kind of spoken magic, something to keep the hours full when the work is done and the silence grows too deep. Later, the work resumes with measured pace. You now assist with moving supplies, delivering copper chisels to tool makers, bringing food from the village stores, refilling jars with cool river water. The tasks may seem small, but here everything matters. Even the smallest effort touches eternity. You move through the site like a familiar breeze, observing the quiet unity of labor. You pass the crew shaping stone with pounding dolerite balls, so simple, yet so effective. Dust floats in the air around them like incense. Some men work with animal grease, rubbing it on wooden sled runners to ease the drag of the stone. Others tend to injured workers with poultices of honey and resin, ancient remedies as old as the Nile itself. In the late afternoon, you stop to help at the quarry edge, where massive limestone blocks are cut and shaped. The noise is louder here, the rhythmic banging of copper against stone, the scraping and sawing, the calling of orders. But even here there is a kind of music to it, a song of shaping and strength. The men here know how to listen to the stone, to find its fault lines and coax it into letting go. You stand back and watch for a while, awed by the patience it takes to break something so massive, so immovable. As the sun dips low once more, shadows grow long across the sands. You return to the village with the others, your steps slower now, your shoulders warm and sore. Smoke rises from the cook fires. The air smells of lentils again, and fresh bread and crushed garlic sizzling in oil. A pot of dates stews nearby, their sweetness filling the air with comfort. You eat quietly with your crewmates, laughter light and tired around the fire. When the stars come out, they feel closer than ever, like you could reach out and pull one down from the sky. The pyramid glows faintly in the distance, its edges catching starlight like a mirror made of mountain. You lie down again, the earth soft beneath you. Someone nearby hums an old lullaby, just a few slow notes, rising and falling like a breath. The pyramid is still growing, but so is your place in history. Sleep now. Let the stars hold you. Let the dust of the day settle like a blanket over your skin. You are safe. You are strong. And the gods are watching. Night deepens like a velvet cloak drawn slowly across the sky. In your village, the firewood pops softly, and the sounds of breathing fade into a rhythmic lull. The air is cooler now, stirred by the occasional sighing breeze from the river. Far away, water laps against stone, and somewhere a crocodile slips soundlessly into the Nile's depths. The gods of the river are still awake, always watching, always flowing. You roll onto your side, adjusting your reed mat just slightly, your limbs loose with weariness. The scent of fire smoke clings to your hair, and your fingers are still powdered with the pale dust of limestone. You close your eyes and feel the pyramid's presence even in sleep, massive, unfinished, glowing silently like a second moon in the dark. You rise with the others at dawn, gently stirred by a crewmate tapping your shoulder and offering a bowl of porridge with one hand, yawning into the other. You eat slowly, watching the light slide across the sand, watching the pyramid catch fire again with the rising sun. It is never the same color twice. Some days it is the color of bone, other days the color of firewood, and sometimes it turns gold like the statues in the temples. Today it is soft and pink like the inside of a seashell. You've come to love watching it change. Today you are reassigned to the tool station. It's not as physically exhausting, but it requires care. You sit on a short wooden stool near the edge of the storage tents, sorting copper chisels into rows, sharp ones to be issued, dulled ones to be returned for hammering and reshaping. Nearby, the smiths work beneath a tarp, sparks flying like tiny suns every time a hammer strikes. The clangs are sharp, yet rhythmic, and you begin to count them without realizing. letting the pattern soothe your mind as the wind plays with the edges of your linen robe. Each chisel tells a story. Some have been used so often that the handles are almost smooth. Others have faint carvings, symbols of their previous owners, or marks showing which crew they belong to. Some are slightly bent, their edges nicked from striking veins of hard stone. You sort them by hand, eyeing each one with care. The copper glints softly in the sun, and you take pride in knowing that without your quiet work, the bigger tasks could not go on. There's peace in the small things. Later, a young boy runs up the hill with a basket of broken mallets. He is out of breath and covered in dust, and you offer him a drink from the clay jar beside you. He thanks you with wide eyes and disappears again just as quickly. You've seen him before, the son of a carpenter who shapes scaffolding from thick acacia trunks. The boy always seems to be running, always watching, listening, learning. You smile as he vanishes into the busy camp, swallowed up by the motion and voices of workers calling back and forth. In the afternoon, you are free to walk a bit. Not all the day is filled with labor. The supervisors, trained in mathematics and priestly writing, understand that tired hands make poor work. You walk toward the lower causeway and sit by a shaded corner near the water storage area, watching as oxen are watered and large clay jars are refilled with care. The sun is strong overhead, but the stone you lean against is cool and rough against your back. You close your eyes and listen to the quiet hum of industry around you. You think about the myths your mother told you, of Re sailing across the sky each day in his golden boat, bringing light to the land and pushing back the dark, of the goddess Mat who keeps balance in the world, who weighs the hearts of the dead on her great feathered scale. You think of your own heart and you wonder what it would weigh today after a day of calm, a day of steady hands, a day of honoring the work. When the sun begins its slow descent again, the workers gather once more for the evening meal. There is warm bread, thick stew, and dates with honey. Someone has brought pomegranates today, a rare treat, and they are shared in small wedges like precious coins. You sit with your crew around the fire and talk about nothing important, weather, food, stories from home. But one man, an older worker with silver at his temples, tells a tale of the first pyramid at Saqqara, built by the wise man Imhotep, whose knowledge was so deep they say he became a god. You listen to the story with quiet awe, your fingers sticky with pomegranate juice and the fire flickering gold across your face. When you lie down that night, the pyramid glows in your memory more than your vision. You can still feel the grain of the stone beneath your hands, still hear the quiet rasp of chisel on rock. You think again of the tiny messages hidden within the structure graffiti, etched into places no royal eye would ever see. They're like offerings or prayers, or maybe just proof that people like you were here, that the work was done not by magic or giants, but by human hands that bled and sang and laughed and lifted. The air is still now. Only the soft buzzing of night insects and the hush of distant sand stir the dark. You breathe in, you breathe out, and you let the weight of time press down gently, not as a burden, but as a blanket. 4,000 years from now, people may not know your name, but the pyramid will still stand and your spirit will be inside it, tucked between blocks, humming like a lullaby waiting to be found. The morning comes softer than before, like a whisper across the sand. You open your eyes to find the sky still cloaked in pale gray. the fire just embers now, glowing faintly in the center of the sleeping village. You stretch beneath your linen wrap, your back tender but not unkindly so. That kind of ache has become familiar earned. Around you, the other workers begin to stir, rubbing eyes rising slowly, their feet bare against the earth. The pyramid looms in the distance, still half shrouded in mist, as though the gods themselves are guarding it in a veil of dreams. Breakfast is quiet. Today it's lentils and beer porridge again, warm and dense and grounding. You eat slowly, savoring the quiet company of those beside you, your crewmates who have become like brothers men from other villages, other corners of the kingdom, all gathered here in a common rhythm. One of them has lost a tooth from biting too hard on a date pit yesterday. The others laugh softly, not cruelly, but with the gentle teasing of people who've worked side by side for months. The kind of closeness that grows in places where the days are long and the nights shared. Your task today brings you closer to the heart of the pyramid. There are chambers inside, not many know how deep or how complex, and your role is to carry polished limestone into the corridors where artisans carve walls with prayers and symbols meant to guide the pharaoh in the afterlife. You carry a heavy slab balanced across your shoulders, walking slowly through a sloping shaft lit by torches embedded in clay sconces. The air inside the pyramid is different, cooler still. It smells of dust and resin and something else, something ancient. The passage narrows. A high priest passes you on the way out, robes swaying, eyes half lowered in contemplation. He does not speak. He does not need to. His presence is enough. You and the others place the limestone gently at the base of a column, stepping back to allow the carvers space to begin their work. They kneel with tiny chisels and fine brushes, etching figures of falcon-headed gods, wings outstretched, ankhs hovering gently in the empty space between breath and stone. You stand quietly for a moment, mesmerized by the care in every stroke. This is not just work, this is memory. The king will one day lie here, surrounded by spells and signs and the silent promise that his soul will rise like Ras each morning. And all of it rests on your hands, your strength, your silent, careful presence. You return to the surface slowly, blinking as the light hits your face again. The sun has risen fully now, bathing the desert in golden warmth. Your fellow laborers are hauling buckets of crushed stone and sand to mix into the makeshift ramps that still encircle the pyramid. These ramps grow and change with the project, built and rebuilt, adapted like the bones of a living creature. Some men say they'll be dismantled stone by stone when the project nears its end, scattered across the desert or reused in future works. Others say the ramps themselves will vanish, swallowed into the structure like a snake shedding its skin. Your arms grow tired as you carry water up the incline, but your feet move with steady rhythm. You no longer think of every step. Your body has learned the slope, adjusted its pace, memorized the balance. Sometimes you wonder if, centuries from now, someone might stand where you are and try to imagine how it was built. They might guess cranes or machines or impossible tools from the heavens. But the truth is simpler sweat and song and time. You take your rest beneath a scaffolding frame made of thick wooden beams, lashed together with palm rope. Shade pools here, cool and wide, and someone passes you a handful of dried figs wrapped in a cloth. You chew slowly, letting the sweetness coat your tongue. your eyelids fluttering slightly as the dust settles around you. You can hear the chanting of work songs further down the ramp, the deep drums echoing against the stone, sensing hearts to muscle, muscle to motion. Each voice adds to the whole, weaving a kind of spell into the day. In the distance, beyond the pyramid's base, you can see the city of Memphis shimmering in the heat, a blur of roofs and columns, temple tops gleaming with gold leaf. It is said the pharaoh watches the construction from afar, his palace windows aligned to glimpse the progress of his eternal resting place. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. You believe it, and that belief fills you with purpose. You return to the tool tent in the afternoon, helping a craftsman shape a replacement lever made from sturdy tamarisk wood. The lever is simple of curved length, smoothed and balanced, but it will be used to nudge 1,000-pound blocks into final place, so it must be right. Every shaving matters. The craftsman's hands are calloused like yours, his voice low and kind. He tells you stories as you work, stories of the Nile's flood long ago, when a priest claimed he saw the river god rise in human form and point toward the desert, marking where this pyramid should rise. You don't know if it's true, but you like the thought of it. The sun lowers once more, casting long shadows over the stone, and the sky ripens into deep blue streaked with orange. You and your crew wash in shallow basins, the water cool on your arms, your face, your chest. You feel the dust and labor of the day rinse away, leaving only the tired satisfaction beneath. Dinner is quieter tonight, everyone a bit more worn, a bit more reflective. Someone sings a lullaby as the fire dies down, and it pulls you deeper into yourself, into the gentle hum of night. When you lie down, the stars are already blinking awake overhead. You look up at them, mapping the same patterns your ancestors did. You see the Great Bear, the 7 cows, the star that marks the tip of Orion's blade, each one tied to myth, to gods, to the rhythm of the seasons. You pull your linen wrap up to your chin and turn toward the pyramid once more, its shape etched into the backs of your eyelids now. It is still not finished, and yet it is already eternal. Let your breathing slow again, sinking into the warmth of a worn mat beneath your back. The quiet of the desert night presses in like a lullaby woven from starlight. There are no torches now, no drums or chanted orders, only the hushed rustling of linen against skin, the distant sigh of a breeze slipping over stone, and the soft crackle of dying coals. You are still, the world is still, and the pyramid, your pyramid, rises in silence, bathed in moonlight, its pale edges catching the glow like polished bone. It does not speak, but it feels alive, humming faintly with all the hands, hearts, and voices that have passed beneath its shadow. When morning comes again, it comes with clouds. A rare thing here. The sky is dimmed slightly, painted with streaks of gray and lavender that blur the line between dawn and dream. You rise without words, your joints crackling gently, and step into the coolness of the day. There's something different in the air moisture maybe, or a soft chill carried in from the north. The other workers notice too. They huddle closer around the cooking fires, their chatter hushed, their eyes squinting toward the horizon. But no rain falls. Not yet. The sky just watches, thoughtful and slow. Today you are sent down the river path to collect supplies. It is not hard work, but it is long. You are joined by a donkey loaded with baskets and a boy who sings to himself under his breath. You pass thickets of papyrus and fields where geese wander lazily through reeds. The scent of damp earth rises up from the banks, sweet and sharp, laced with the thick perfume of river water. You find yourself slowing your steps, letting the sounds of insects and the splash of fish lull your thoughts into quiet. The storage site is a shaded clearing where sacks of barley, baskets of dried beans, and clay jars of honey and oil are kept beneath woven awnings. You trade a tally stick given by the foreman for your goods, 2 jars of thick honey, a sack of millet, and a small satchel of dried fish. The keeper is an old man with white eyebrows and a voice like warm leather. He offers you a handful of salted nuts and tells you to chew slowly, for they are rich and rare. You thank him with a bow and begin the long walk back. On your return, the sun pushes through the clouds. It falls in long, slanted beams across the sand, illuminating patches of stone like golden islands. You and the boy walk in silence for a while, the donkey's hooves thudding softly against the ground. As you near the worksite, the hum of voices returns, a low, constant murmur, broken now and then by the call of names, the clang of copper, the creak of sled wood. You deliver your goods and are rewarded with a warm strip of flatbread spread with soft goat cheese. You eat it beside the ramp, your legs dangling over a ledge of stone, smoothed by use. Below, the pyramid's flanks rise and curve in slow, geometric precision. You watch the crews work from above, noticing their patterns like dancers in a ceremony: lift, step, swing, place. The work continues, unbroken, a kind of moving meditation. The afternoon brings another task assisting the ramp crew as they adjust the scaffolding. The structure is growing again, reaching higher, winding tighter. You work alongside carpenters who speak in short, clipped instructions, their hands warm but certain. Tools, brace beams, tighten ropes. At one point, you pause for water and look up through the skeletal frame of the scaffold. Above you, the sky is blinding blue, and the pyramid's edge cuts through it like a line drawn by the gods. Someone nearby hums an old song, something about a herdsman and a lost calf. The tune is slow and wistful, drifting in and out of earshot as the wind changes. You hum along without meaning to, your voice soft, barely a breath. The scaffold creaks beneath you, wood shifting gently with each gust, but you are not afraid. The structure is strong, and the hands around you are steady. You are held here not just by rope and wood, but by the 1,000 unspoken bonds that tie this place together. As evening nears, you descend carefully, your legs tingling from the climb. The dust on your skin is darker now, streaked with sweat, and your throat is parched. At the village, you rinse off with ladled water poured by another crewmate, the stream cooling your shoulders and sending trails of silt down your chest. You feel lighter, cleaner, ready for sleep. Dinner is a stew of lentils and wild garlic, the broth thick and fragrant. You eat with a wooden spoon, slow and grateful, the fire's warmth curling against your shins. A younger worker tells a story about the pyramid's shadow, how, on certain days, it points directly toward the Temple of Ptah in Memphis. Some believe this was done on purpose, a message from the gods themselves. Others say it is just a coincidence, but you know better. Nothing here is by accident. When the stars come out, you sit a while before lying down. You gaze up at them, letting your mind wander. You think of your village, your father's voice, your mother's hands weaving mats by firelight. You think of barley fields glowing gold at harvest, and the way the Nile sometimes sings when the wind is right. But mostly you think of the pyramid, the one you helped build, stone by stone, hour by hour. Its presence is always with you now, like a second heartbeat. Even in sleep, you feel it patient, rising, waiting. So sleep now. Let your body drift. Let the stone you've carried melt from your shoulders. Let the hum of ancient work lull you deeper, deeper still. You are a builder of forever. You are a dreamer in the dust, and the pyramid remembers. The air tonight is thick with stillness. Even the insects seem to whisper more softly, their wings brushing the air like threads against silk. You lie on your mat, hands folded over your chest, eyes gently closed. The fire has burned low, only coals now glowing like forgotten stars beneath ash. A light breeze sighs through the gaps in the huts, carrying the scent of warm sand and the faint sweetness of drying herbs. Somewhere nearby, a man exhales in his sleep, murmuring words from a dream soft as a prayer. You listen, but do not move. You are nestled in time itself safe, anchored in a moment no wind can carry away. As dawn returns, it does so slowly. The sky remains dark longer than usual, holding on to night as though reluctant to let it go. But eventually, it fades, and the soft pink light returns. You rise, muscles stiff but patient. You have learned to stand without rushing, to stretch each limb as if greeting it anew. The crewmates around you are quieter this morning, and you sense a shared weight in the air, not dread, not fear, but reverence. Today your crew has been chosen for a sacred task, transporting one of the inner granite blocks. These are not like the usual limestone pieces hauled daily by dozens of hands. No, the granite blocks come from far to the south, from the quarries at Aswan. They are darker, heavier, harder. They do not polish into soft white like the outer stones. They are deep, silent blocks made for the core, for the pharaoh's burial chamber, where no one but the gods and his soul will ever enter. They are sacred in weight, sacred in silence. The preparations are meticulous. Ropes are doubled, then tripled. Oil is poured into grooves in the sled path. Palm fibers are woven into pads for shoulders. Everyone moves slower, more carefully, as if noise itself might offend the stone. The block itself waits like a sleeping beast, its surface reflecting no light, its corners clean and sharp. You and your crewmates approach together, laying hands on it not with urgency, but with humility. Someone murmurs a short chant for strength. Another touches his forehead to the stone, and then you begin to pull. The sled groans and shifts, the ropes tightening like the strings of a harp stretched far too tight. You lean into the harness, your feet digging into the grooved path, your breath steady. You do not speak, none of you do. The block moves inch by inch, a soundless declaration of endurance and focus. The ramp bends slowly up and around, each curve revealing a slightly higher view of the distant horizon. Birds wheel far above you, silent in their spirals. The only sounds are the scraping of wood on stone and the quiet grunts of effort passed between clenched teeth and furrowed brows. You reach the platform near midday, your arms shaking, sweat streaking your face, legs coated in dust. The granite block now rests near the opening of the inner passage, ready to be guided down into the king's chamber. Engineers will take it from here, carefully lowering it along the angled corridor, using levers and sand and gravity itself as a tool. You step back, breathless, watching as the shadow of the stone falls long and dark across the ramp. Later, as the heat grows softer, you help gather broken tools for repair. You sit beneath a long awning made of stretched linen, surrounded by splinters and chipped bronze edges, and begin sorting. A copper blade dulls quickly when used against granite, and many of today's tools have worn to blunt stumps. You line them up, one by one, on a flat stone, and gently scrub each with sand and oil before placing them into a basket for the blacksmith. It's quiet work, but steady. It slows your mind and lets your heartbeat fall into rhythm again. A young woman arrives with bread and dried beans, her veil drawn close against the wind. She's a sister of one of the foremen and brings food once a week from the nearby village. You offer to carry her basket, and she accepts with a small smile. You walk beside her for a while, feet crunching over worn stone. She asks how high the pyramid has risen, and you tell her 40 courses now, nearly halfway. She nods slowly, eyes narrowed against the sun, and says she wonders if it will ever truly be finished, or if it will simply grow until it reaches the stars. You don't answer. You don't need to, because deep down you think she may be right. Evening comes with a hush. No music tonight, no stories, just quiet conversation and soft chewing as bowls of soup are passed between calloused hands. You sit with your back against a stone pillar, watching shadows stretch and melt into one another. The pyramid is almost invisible, now its silhouette blending into the darkening sky. Only the stars show its shape, wrapping around its outline like a cloak of light. You finish your meal slowly, licking the last bits of lentil broth from your fingers, and rise to walk once more to the edge of the village. From there you can see the river far below, silver and coiled like a sleeping serpent. A single boat glides across it, lantern flickering from the prow, leaving a trail of ripples behind. You imagine your home beyond those waters, your village, your family, your past. You imagine returning someday older and stronger, with stories etched into your hands and pride woven into your bones. But for now, you remain, because the work is not done, because the pyramid is not yet whole. You return to your mat and lie down, arms resting loosely at your sides. Someone stokes the last coals of the fire, and their glow warms your cheek. The wind picks up again, softer than before, curling through the sleeping huts like a lullaby. And once again, the night wraps around you, heavy with memory, light with dreams. Sleep holds you gently now, like a river cradling a reed boat as it drifts along soft currents. But even in your rest, the rhythm of the pyramid lingers steady and slow, like a heartbeat beneath stone. Time itself seems to bend around your dreams, wrapping you in the same stillness that settles over the desert at night. In that hush, you hear things differently. The creak of ropes becomes a lullaby. The thud of mallets becomes a distant drum beat. And the sigh of the wind is a mother's hum from long ago. When morning arrives, it comes without urgency. The sun climbs shyly today, veiled behind a film of sand-dusted clouds. It gives the air a muted glow, as though the whole world has slipped into soft focus. You rise slowly, your limbs heavy but warm, your thoughts still caught between dreams and dawn. The others are quiet, too. There's something in the air, a strange calm. Not sadness, not dread, just quiet, as though the day itself knows what's coming. Word passes through the workers' village like water through papyrus reeds. A priest is coming, not a common one, but a high official of the Temple of Ar. He is to bless a new chamber, one that has just been sealed into place deep inside the pyramid's belly. Such ceremonies are rare. Most of the time, the priests remain in the cities, in the sacred courts, away from labor and stone dust. But today they walk among you. You gather near the outer slope where the chamber's entrance was once open. Now it is covered in smooth, fresh stone, sealed forever with perfect blocks that no eye will see again. The priest wears linen of brilliant white, his collar encrusted with blue faience and lapis lazuli. He moves slowly, his hands raised, his voice a whisper layered with ancient syllables. You do not understand every word, but the sound of it settles into your bones, calm and low, like a tide inside your chest. He pours oil across the stone, and it runs in glistening trails, pooling in the fine cracks where the blocks meet. He speaks of the king's soul the Ka that will one day rest here and rise again, reborn with the dawn. He speaks of protection, of balance, of the eternal order that keeps chaos away. And then, with a final breath, he presses both hands to the chamber wall and leaves the print of his fingers in the oil. A quiet signal, a final touch. A door closed not in stone, but in spirit. After the ceremony, you return to your tasks, carrying baskets of crushed limestone to a nearby site where smaller blocks are being shaped. The contrast is jarring, from sacred words to sweating backs, from prayers to splinters and dust. But you do not mind. This is the rhythm of your world ritual and labor, spirit and stone, breath and weight, all things connected, all things necessary. You work beside a man from the Delta region today. His accent is thick, and you do not understand every word, but you speak with your hands, your eyes, your shared knowledge of the task. Together you hammer down chips of stone and gather them into woven sacks. He tells you, slowly and with a grin, that back in his village, it was known for singing to crocodiles. You raise an eyebrow. He insists it's true, that if you hum just right, they pause just long enough for you to get away. You laugh, and your laughter feels good, like a release, like sunlight finding the space between ribs. You tell him a story in return of a boy in your village who swore he saw a falcon with the face of a man. It led him to a buried pot of coins, but he was too afraid to dig it up, so he left it there, and later no one could find it again. The two of you work like this for hours, sifting, shaping, stacking your stories, mixing like dust in the breeze. The pyramid looms behind you, as it always does, but it feels gentler today, like a quiet companion, watching, not demanding. In the afternoon, you return briefly to the storage tent. Your task is to help sort new deliveries, bundles of linen, jugs of fish oil, sacks of herbs and barley. You run your hands across the smooth cloth, marveling at its softness, wondering who will wear it. Perhaps a noble, perhaps a priest, perhaps a mummy wrapped with care beneath golden paint. The smell of the herbs calms your thoughts, rosemary, coriander, and dried myrrh. You inhale deeply and feel a peaceful weight press gently behind your eyes. When your work is done, you walk alone for a time. The foremen allow these small moments of solitude. You follow a narrow path that curls around the side of the site, past the edge of the scaffolding, past the piles of spare stone. You reach a small rise, a modest hill that offers a view of both the river and the pyramid together. You sit there, legs folded, elbows resting on your knees, and breathe. The Nile shimmers below like a strip of liquid glass. Birds dart above it, wings flashing white. On its banks, tiny dots move people, goats, boats. And beside it, the pyramid rises, slow and impossible. You trace its shape with your finger in the air, like a child drawing in the sky. You wonder again what it will look like when finished, how it will shine, how it will whisper your name, even if no one hears it. You return to the village before nightfall. The sky is streaked with soft bronze and blue, and fires flicker to life all around you. The air is filled with the scent of roasted onions and the bubbling of lentil stew. You eat quietly, smiling when someone passes a bowl of honeyed bread. It sticks to your fingers. You don't mind. Someone hums that crocodile song again. You laugh, and then it is time to sleep. You lie back slowly, arms behind your head, staring up at the darkening sky. The stars blink into place, one by one, ancient and familiar. You see Orion, as always, and the goddess Nut stretching across the heavens. You see the North Star, the one the pyramid points toward, constant, unmoving, a signpost for eternity. You close your eyes, and once more sleep finds you, like the river, like the stone, like the wind across sand. Sleep drapes over you like a soft linen sheet, light and cool, woven from dreams and dust. Even in rest, your breath moves in quiet rhythm with the desert around you. The pyramid stands not far from your thoughts now. It waits in your mind like a calm flame, its lines simple and strong, as if carved into the sky itself. And in your dreams you see it not in daylight, but lit from within, every stone glowing faintly with the memory of a hand that placed it, a name whispered once, long ago. You are part of it. Even in sleep, the stone remembers you. The next morning greets you with the chirping of small birds perched in the wooden rafters above your mat. Their wings flutter gently in the dim gray air, and for a moment you simply lie still, listening. Their song is delicate and high, like water spilling onto clay. As you rise, the sun spills gold across the edge of the world. You wrap yourself in your linen and wash your face at the communal basin. The water is cool, tasting faintly of stone and smoke. You let it drip from your chin and down your neck before stepping into the day. Your assignment today is with the transport team again. But this time, instead of stone, you're moving food supplies brought in by boat, floated up the Nile and offloaded at a dock not far from the worksite. It's a welcome change. Less weight, perhaps, but still purpose, still movement. The foreman hands you a list written in hieratic script symbols you cannot read, but which someone nearby murmurs aloud for you. Dried dates, barley flour, salted duck, and lotus root. You nod, understanding what must be done. You walk the wide path toward the dock, sandals scuffing gently against the earth, the smell of the river growing with each step. When you arrive, it's already a lively scene, workers stacking crates, sailors shouting greetings, a scribe recording goods with a reed pen dipped in black ink. The boats bob lazily against the stone mooring, ropes pulled taut in the current. You begin to unload piece by piece, your hands moving automatically, basket, jar, sack, repeat. There's something soothing in the simplicity of it, something meditative in the steady rhythm of work that doesn't require thinking, only doing. As you lift a large basket of dried fish, you pause for a moment and glance across the river. On the opposite shore, smoke curls upward from a farming village. You imagine families starting their day, women baking bread on hot stones, children chasing goats through the reeds. You wonder if they look across the water and see the pyramid, half-built and glowing in the sun. You wonder what they think of it. You wonder if they feel pride, or fear, or something else. By midday, the boats are lighter, and your shoulders ache in that familiar, deep way that tells you you've earned your rest. You sit beneath a tall palm near the dock and share a loaf of bread with a boy from another crew. He has dark eyes and a quiet voice, and he speaks only when asked. You learn that his mother was a brewer, and that his older brother once worked on the obelisks at Karnak. He says he wants to become a sculptor someday, but for now, he carries sacks and counts jars and watches how stone reacts to light. You nod, and the two of you eat in silence, your backs against the same tree. Later, as the sun begins its descent once again, you are sent to the ramp to assist with smoothing the path. The sleds that carry stone wear down grooves into the surface, and these must be filled with fine sand and compacted carefully. You walk with a wide broom made of palm fibers, sweeping dust into the tracks, then pressing it down with your feet, feeling the grit and texture under your soles. It's quiet work and solitary, and gives you space to think. You think about how far the pyramid has come. The courses rise higher each week, though it seems slower now. Every stone takes longer to place, every gap more carefully filled. The corners must align perfectly with the cardinal points, north, south, east, west, so that when the sun rises and sets, its light hits each edge in balance. You've heard that the priests believe this alignment will help guide the king's soul into the afterlife, that it mirrors the order of the stars. You don't know if it's true, but when you stand at the base and look up, you believe in something. As evening descends, the wind picks up slightly. It carries the scent of stone dust and the faint sweetness of crushed lotus. The firelight in the village flickers in long orange ribbons, casting tall shadows that stretch across the ground like silent guardians. You help carry a jug of fresh water to your crew's table and pour it carefully into wide clay bowls. Everyone is quiet tonight, as if listening for something just beyond hearing, some secret the desert hasn't yet told. Dinner is thick with flavored lentils, garlic, leeks, and dried fish, a rare treat. You eat slowly, savoring each bite. Someone passes a small jar of date syrup, and you dip your bread into it, the sweetness unexpected and soothing. A boy begins to hum a melody slow and circular, and it spreads through the group, picked up by one voice, then another. Soon the whole crew is singing softly. No words, just sound. A lullaby made of voices that know each other's rhythm. You lie down under the stars, still humming that same melody in your chest, even after the others have fallen asleep. The wind rustles the palm leaves overhead, a soft, swaying sound like breath on cloth. You close your eyes and see the pyramid again, not as it is, but as it will be finished, white as milk, smooth and sharp and waiting for the sky to touch its tip. You imagine your name written somewhere deep inside, invisible but real. Not on a wall, not on a plaque, but written in the way a hand fits around a stone, in the way your footsteps shaped the dust. Sleep comes easily now, and as it does, you drift once more into the pyramid's quiet shadow, where time slows, and every grain of sand remembers you. The night air is cooler now, touched by a breeze that moves slowly, like the desert itself is breathing. You sleep with your hands resting loosely on your chest, your breath rising and falling like the Nile's steady current. In the distance, a jackal howls once low and lonesome, but it fades into the hush of wind against stone. Above you, the stars wheel gently across the sky, ancient and unhurried. The pyramid sleeps too, its edges softened by moonlight, its summit reaching into the quiet black above, like the tip of a silent question. You are part of this stillness. You are a thread in this quiet pattern. Morning doesn't come in a rush. It arrives like a soft knock at the edge of sleep. You open your eyes slowly, feeling the heaviness of rest still clinging to your muscles, the scent of ash and warm grain in the air. Around you, the village stirs in calm waves' feet, shuffling over packed earth, a soft cough, the scrape of a bowl being stirred. You sit up, stretch your arms, and listen. The pyramid's presence is there even now, even in the silence before work begins. You can feel it like a mountain behind you, holding time in place. Today, the foreman greets your crew with a rare smile. A milestone has been reached, 50 courses of stone now placed, each one perfectly aligned, each layer a step closer to the sky. It doesn't feel like a celebration, not exactly. But there is a reverence in the air, a subtle pride. You are given a special task this morning, cleaning the capstones. These are the polished stones that will crown the corners of the current level, designed to reflect the sun's rays so they glow like fire at dawn. The task is delicate. You work with soft cloth and oil, wiping the stones in slow, steady circles, watching the light return to their surfaces with each stroke. The cloth becomes warm in your hands. You feel the fine grain of the stone beneath it, smooth, cool, and perfect. Around you, others are doing the same, their hands working in silence, their eyes focused, their movements precise. Occasionally, a voice hums a note, and another joins. No words, just a sound passed like water from throat to throat. It feels like prayer, even if no God is named. Later, you walk down toward the storage shelter near the base of the site. You've been asked to assist the scribe with inventory, helping count the remaining supplies of beer and barley, fish, and onions. You don't mind. The scribe is quiet and kind. His writing tools fascinate you, the smooth roll of papyrus, the reed pens trimmed to precise tips, the 2 little pots of ink, red and black. He lets you watch as he writes the tallies, your eyes tracing the curve of each glyph, each tiny symbol, alive with meaning. You don't know how to read them all, but you recognize a few. The basket that means offer, the eye that sees all, the wavy line that means water or eternity. As the sun reaches its peak, the workers take shelter from the heat. You lie beneath the scaffolding again, back against the stone, hands resting lightly on your stomach. Someone is weaving rope nearby, twisting long strands of palm fiber around a wooden peg. The repetition is calming: pull, twist, tie, repeat. It's the same rhythm you've come to know in all parts of this work. The rhythm of rope and stone, of grain and song, of fire and silence. You drift in and out of wakefulness, your thoughts soft and unhurried. You remember a time before this, a time when you sat by a smaller fire in your village, listening to your grandfather speak of kings and gods and stars. He said that to live a good life was to build something that would outlast you. At the time, you thought he meant children or stories or a carved staff passed from father to son. But now, You wonder if he meant this. This labor, this stone, this quiet effort repeated across days and weeks and seasons until a mountain rises from dust. When the sun begins to dip again, your crew is called to assist in a ceremonial polishing of the pyramid's face. The outer casing stones, gleaming white limestone, are cleaned and smoothed with claws dipped in water and scented oil. This will not be a daily task. This is special, for inspection, for pride, for beauty. You walk slowly up the ramp, carrying your bundle of claws, and join the others already at work. As you move your hands across the stone, you notice how warm it is, how it holds the sun's memory like skin. You press gently, polishing in wide arcs, watching the light shift with each motion. The limestone is dazzling. When clean, it reflects the light like still water. In some places it almost glows, as though lit from within. You imagine what the pyramid will look like when finished, how it will shine like a beacon, a staircase of light rising toward the gods. You imagine people coming from across the kingdom just to see it, to stand in its shadow and feel small in the best way. When the final stone has been wiped clean, the crew gathers at the base of the slope. The foreman offers thanks not in grand speeches, but in quiet nods, in the way he lingers a little longer when looking at each of you. You return to the village in silence, the pride in your chest matched only by the ache in your legs. Dinner is simple boiled grain, onions, and a bit of soft cheese. You eat slowly, chewing each bite with care, letting your mind drift. A flute plays nearby, the notes low and slow, curling around the fire like smoke. You lie back again, full and tired, the heat of the day still lingering in your bones. You watch the stars come out faint at first, then bolder, until the sky is full. And as your eyelids grow heavier, you think of your name, not written in ink, not carved into a wall, but folded into the work, into the angles of a polished block, into the curve of a smoothed rope, into the breath between footsteps. That is where you live now, in the stone, in the silence, in the forever that you helped build. Tonight, the silence feels different. It is deeper, almost velvety, as though the very sky is holding its breath. You lie awake for a few minutes longer than usual, letting your gaze soften as you stare into the dark. The pyramid is there, even when you can't see it. You can feel it in your ribs, in the space between your shoulder blades. It anchors the horizon, even in the dark. Someone nearby murmurs a prayer under their breath, not to any specific god, just a quiet offering to the stars. You close your eyes and let the sound drift over you like a lullaby folded into the wind. By morning, your name is on the list for maintenance duty near the topmost course. You're not afraid. You've climbed before. You've stood high above the sand and watched the world shrink below you like an offering bowl tipped toward the sun. But each time, it still takes your breath. You eat a smaller breakfast, a bit of porridge and 2 figs, and wrap your head in linen soaked with water. It will dry quickly in the heat, but for now, it keeps you cool. The climb is long and winding, up through the tight switchbacks of scaffolding and ramp. The air grows thinner the higher you go, and the light changes subtly. You start to see the world from a different angle, not just physically, but spiritually, too. The Nile looks like a painted ribbon now, and the villages along its banks seem like thoughts written into the land. You reach the top level and crouch beside a fellow worker, tasked with adjusting a section of worn ramp stone. and reinforcing it with sand and wood. The work is quiet, methodical. You press stones into place with care, knowing that even the smallest crack could grow into something dangerous. But it is not just danger you think of, it's beauty. From up here, you see things differently. The pyramid doesn't look like a task. It looks like a dream made solid. You sit back for a moment, wiping your brow, and feel the wind pass through the space between your collar and your neck. It cools you. It whispers. You cannot hear words, but you understand its meaning. Something old, something simple. You are part of a pattern older than kings, older than names. Later, a group of temple workers arrives to perform a sun ceremony. You were not expecting this, but you recognize the robes. They carry small bronze mirrors and polished bowls of clear water. They do not speak much. They simply move, placing the mirrors at the corners of the highest course, letting sunlight catch and reflect across the pale limestone. It dances there for a few minutes, flickering like firelight. Then, one by one, they extinguish the reflection by tipping the mirrors face down into the sand. The ritual is finished. You return to your work, quieter than before. The wind is stronger up here. It carries the taste of salt and something ancient, maybe from the sea, maybe from time itself. You press more stones into place, careful not to rush. One of the workers hums a tune you've never heard before, slow, haunting, beautiful. It fades quickly, but the notes linger in your chest. When the sun reaches its peak, your crew is rotated back down. You walk the ramp slowly, your legs careful with each step. Your fingers brush the edge of the scaffold as you descend, grounding you. The smell of sand and sweat clings to your arms. Your lips are dry, but your heart is full. You've touched the sky today. That is enough. Back at the village, water is poured from tall clay jugs into wide wooden basins. You scoop some into your hands and splash your face, feeling the heat dissolve. The coolness slides down your spine and makes you sigh. You sit in the shade and drink deeply from a shared jar. The taste is earthy and clean. Someone passes you a folded cloth with honey bread inside, and you thank them with a nod. A storyteller arrives just before sunset. He is older, wrapped in a faded red shawl, his voice rough but strong. He sits on a flat stone, surrounded by crewmates, and begins to speak not loudly, but with a tone that makes you lean in, drawn closer by the hush. He tells of a time before the pyramids, when the gods walked among people. He speaks of Thoth writing the names of stars onto papyrus, and of Isis using breath to bring life back to Osiris. He tells of a hidden chamber buried beneath sand, said to hold the first dream ever dreamed. The story is impossible, but as you listen, you believe every word. When the stars return, they are brighter than the night before. You lie on your back and trace the shapes with your eyes, triangles, spirals, rivers made of fire. You feel their distance, but you also feel their gaze, like they know you, like they are waiting. The wind quiets, the fire dims, and your body sinks into the earth again. There is nothing more to do tonight, only rest, only this, only now. The stillness of night wraps around you like linen pulled tight against a breeze, warm in places and cool in others. Your breath slows. The fire is now no more than a memory of heat. The earth beneath your mat holds the day's warmth, and the stars above mirror the rhythm of your chest, quiet, pulsing, eternal. You can almost feel the pyramid breathing beside you in the dark. exhaling the stories of those who laid its stones, who sang its blocks into place, who dreamed under the same sky and walked the same narrow paths from tent to worksite and back again. This is not just sleep. This is belonging. Morning light spreads like soft paint across the edges of the sky. The sun has not yet risen, but its promise glows faintly behind the low hills to the east. You wake gently, stretching your arms as the first sounds of movement ripple through the camp. The scrape of sandals, the splash of water, the first crackling of kindling touched by flame. You rinse your hands and face and eat a small handful of barley and dried grapes, sweet and chewy, waking your senses as you chew. Today your name is on the list for the inspection team. Inspections happen rarely, but when they do, the pace of the day changes. The overseers, master masons, and even temple scribes walk the length of the work, observing, measuring, making notes on palm fiber scrolls. Every block must be level. Every edge must be true. You are not afraid. You know your work is careful, honest, clean. But the pyramid demands attention. No task is too small. No line too subtle. You walk beside a tall man in dark linen who carries a straight edge carved from acacia wood. He runs it along the joints between blocks, checking that no light shines through. When he finds a gap no wider than a reed's stem, he makes a mark with a dab of red ochre and says nothing. The next crew will adjust it. You nod and move on, checking the dust paths, brushing loose grit from the surface of stones, and listening to the footsteps of the masters as they pass. You are part of the day's rhythm, small but essential. At midday, the sun is high and hot. You gather in the shade of a tall boundary stone where birds rest on its flat top and the wind curls softly around your ankles. You sip water from a wide jar and eat a handful of lentils and leeks, savoring their tang. Someone speaks of the river, how its levels are rising again, and how soon the season of inundation will begin. Fields will flood, soil will renew, and everything will sleep underwater for a time. You smile, thinking of your village. Your father will be watching the reeds closely. Your mother will be gathering eggs before the nests are swallowed by the tide. After the break, the inspection continues, and you are reassigned to assist a scribe recording the day's results. He is a man with quiet eyes, the kind that miss nothing, and his fingers are stained black from ink. You carry the scrolls in a reed basket, handing them to him one by one as he kneels to write. His brush moves quickly, each symbol flowing into the next like water. You watch his hands and wonder what it would be like to know all those meanings, to read the stone itself the way you read clouds or wind. He glances up once and says softly, "This will be read again one day, perhaps not soon, but long after we are dust." You don't answer, but his words settle in your chest, and you carry them with you as the sun begins to lower once more, painting everything in gold and quiet shadow. Before returning to camp, you climb a small dune near the edge of the site. From the top, you can see it all: your camp, the river, the distant edge of the green floodplain, and of course the pyramid. It glows now in the low light, its lines soft by distance and warmth. It looks finished from here, though you know it is not. But that illusion comforts you. It lets you feel for a breath, like you are already part of something whole. That evening, the camp is filled with soft music. A reed flute, a slow drum, a woman's voice humming an old harvest song with no words. You sit near the fire, sipping warm water steeped with mint and honey, and let the sound wash over you. You think of the day of straight edges and silent gaps, of words written in black ink and red ochre, of winds that carried dust and dreams in equal measure. You think of how many feet have walked this path before you, and how many will walk it after. You lie back slowly, bones easing into the earth, your eyes closed before you mean them to. But that's all right, because the pyramid is rising, because your hands helped shape forever, and because now, in the hush between sun and stars, you are exactly where you are meant to be. The darkness that settles over your village is soft and generous, like a familiar hand smoothing the folds of a linen robe. Around you, breath becomes the only music slow inhales. Slower exhales, the subtle harmony of dozens of resting bodies woven into the night. The sand no longer stirs. The wind hushes. Even the jackals keep to themselves. Overhead, the stars blink more slowly now, like tired eyes watching from above. You feel a deep stillness under your bones, a kind of peace that only comes when your hands have worked honestly and your heart has stayed steady. You have helped shape a future that will outlive you. And tonight, that is enough. When the light returns, it does so gently, not all at once, but in a slow unfurling, first a blush of pale gray, then faint warmth, and finally the pink gold spill of day, touching the tops of the scaffolds. You sit up slowly, your joints murmuring beneath your skin, your mind still hazy with dreams of shining white walls and long stone corridors that echo with silent music. You blink the sleep from your eyes and rise with your crew, stepping once again into the rhythm of the day. Today you've been assigned to the base perimeter a job that might seem simple, but one that requires patience and care. You are tasked with preparing the foundation for a final line of casing stones, smoothing the sand and arranging crushed limestone to help stabilize the platform. It's quiet work, away from the lifting and hauling above, and you welcome the silence. The sun is kinder in the morning hours. The wind brushes over the flat stone, carrying with it the scent of the river and something faintly sweet, perhaps fig trees, from the farms beyond the marshes. You press the limestone into place, spreading it with a wooden board, flattening each edge until it feels even beneath your palm. Around you, other men do the same, their movements like yours methodical, slow, exact. From time to time, one of them hums or whispers a line from a prayer. You echo it quietly. The words don't need to be loud to mean something. Sometimes a whisper is enough to hold the world in place. A man beside you pauses, rubs the back of his neck, and tells you he once dreamed the pyramid was finished, not just finished, but glowing with fire. He said he stood at the top and could see the gods waiting in the sky. You nod. You've had dreams too. Sometimes you see the capstone placed, shining like the sun itself. Sometimes you see the corridors inside, filled with gold and scent and silence. And sometimes you just see yourself old and still, lying under a fig tree, watching the tip of the pyramid catch the morning light. By midday, you take a short break beneath a shaded lean-to. The heat has risen quickly, but the breeze has stayed with you, easing the burn of the sun. You sip water from a clay cup and share dates with another worker, their skins wrinkled, their sweetness dense and dark. The dates stick to your teeth, and you don't mind. They taste like rest. They taste like home. In the afternoon, a group of priests arrives to mark the final alignment of the outer walls. They walk slowly, their feet bare, carrying measuring cords and rods carved with glyphs. You watch from a respectful distance as they pace the edges, checking proportions, muttering calculations. This part of the process is sacred. The angles must be exact. The lines must reflect harmony, the balance between heaven and earth, chaos and order. Mat. One of the priests carries a sistrum, a ritual rattle shaped like a temple arch. He shakes it gently as he walks, the soft metallic jingling blending with the breeze. The sound settles into your spine, steady and strange, like the footsteps of time moving through the air. You close your eyes for a moment and simply listen to the sistrum, to the murmurs, to the pyramid breathing beside you. When the sun begins to fall again, it does so in a blaze of amber light. The casing stones you've helped prepare reflect it like mirrors dulled by dust, but still glowing. The pyramid's surface catches the sun's descent, holding it, then slowly letting it go. You stand with your hands resting on your knees, watching the light fall away, your breath slowing as the shadows grow longer and deeper. Back at the village, the mood is calm and full. Dinner is roasted garlic spread on flatbread, with barley stew thickened by leeks. You eat with your fingers, licking them clean, letting the flavors linger. Someone tells a story of a boy who stole a sacred cat from the temple and was cursed to speak only in riddles. It's a silly tale, but the laughter it brings is warm and grateful. You lean back on your mat and smile, letting the firelight flicker against your closed eyelids. As the stars emerge once more, you lie with your arms behind your head, your breath deep and steady. You think of the measurements taken today, of the angles traced by cords pulled taut by hands that believed in perfection. You think of the silence that fell as the priest shook the sistrum. You think of the dust on your palms, and the way even the smallest grain had a part to play in holding eternity steady. And then you stop thinking altogether. You let the pyramid hold your thoughts. You let the stars hold your silence. And you sleep, not as a worker, but as a witness to something forever. The desert is hushed tonight, as if the land itself has chosen to rest. Even the air feels different, thicker, warmer, wrapping around your skin like a memory you've almost forgotten. You lie quietly, watching the stars as they pass slowly across the heavens, each one an ancient torch in the distance, flickering but steady. The breeze carries the scent of crushed herbs and firewood, and somewhere close by, a soft lullaby hums from someone's lips. You cannot tell who it is, and you don't need to know. The sound is enough. It folds into the silence like a smooth stone into water. By morning, the sky is streaked with gold and a pale purple, the kind that signals the start of a cooler day. The ground is still warm beneath your feet, holding the memory of yesterday's sun, but the air above it is fresh and clean. You walk slowly toward the basin and rinse your hands, savoring the way the water slips between your fingers. You eat a quiet breakfast, just a heel of bread and some goat cheese, and listen to the soft shuffling of sandals and the murmur of greetings passed between crewmates. Today you're called to assist the stone polishers. These are not ordinary blocks. These are the visible casing stones, the white limestone that will catch the sun and make the pyramid shine like a beacon to the gods. The surface must be smooth, pure, almost reflective. You are given a slab of sandstone to use as a grinder, along with water mixed with a fine, gritty dust. You kneel beside a block already partially polished, the surface cool beneath your hand, and begin. The work is circular, slow, meditative. You press the sandstone into the limestone with just enough pressure and begin to move in wide arcs, round and round. The sound is soft like dry cloth brushing across smooth skin. You dip your cloth into the water, pour a small amount across the stone, and keep going. It's not about speed. It's about feel. About watching the dullness fade into a quiet glow. About noticing the subtle shift when the stone finally begins to mirror the sky. As you work, your thoughts begin to wander not away from the task, but within it. You think of the men who will see this finished surface 100 years from now, 1,000. You wonder if they'll understand how many hands touched each block, how much care went into something they might call eternal. You think of the word for pyramid in your language, mer. It means place of ascension. That thought stays with you. Later in the day, a priest walks through the polishing site, offering drops of scented oil to each worker. He carries a small clay bottle and tips it gently into your palm. The smell is sharp and clean cedar, maybe, or frankincense. You rub it across your shoulders and down your arms, letting the scent settle into your skin. It makes the air feel cooler, lighter. The priest says nothing, but his presence feels like a quiet blessing, and you bow your head as he passes. When the sun is high, you move into the shade to rest. You eat a handful of beans and sip sour beer from a small jug, the bubbles tickling your tongue. Around you, other workers sit quietly, fanning themselves with strips of palm leaf or watching the slow flight of hawks high above. Someone tells a story about a man who once lived inside the pyramid, who walked its halls in dreams, guided by Anubis himself. Another man swears he saw a light at the very top of the structure last night, even though no fire burns there. You listen, letting the stories float around you like feathers on the wind. In the afternoon, you return to polishing. The block has changed. It is warmer now, the light catching on its surface in a way that almost blinds you if you stare too long. You pause to admire it, running your fingers across the smooth face. It feels like water held still. You smile, and then you move to the next stone. The hours pass without urgency. The sun begins to sink once again. Your hands are sore, your shoulders aching, but you don't mind. The pyramid has grown again. Not in height, perhaps, but in detail, in shine, in readiness. As you return to the village, you pause by the fire pit and help light the evening flame. You strike flint against iron, watching sparks leap up, catching on the dry grass and coiling quickly into flame. You shield it from the wind with your hands and blow gently, coaxing it to life. It grows steady and warm, and you feel its heat touch your cheeks. Another worker places a pot above it, and soon the smell of garlic and coriander fills the air. Dinner is quiet. No one speaks much, but there is a closeness in the silence, as though everyone shares the same quiet pride. The food is simple barley stew, boiled onions, and a small piece of dried fish, but it fills your belly and calms your bones. You eat slowly, savoring every bite, your body already beginning to relax. Later, you lie back on your mat, staring up at the stars. They are bright tonight, almost startling in their clarity. You watch them move slowly across the sky, remembering their names: Soptit, the morning star; Sa, the father of the gods; Horus, the eye that sees all. They are old companions now, watching you, guiding you. And as you close your eyes, you whisper a single word to them there: ascension. because that's what you've been building all this time. Not just a tomb, but a path. Not just for a king, but for a soul. Maybe even your own.
The night is so quiet, you can almost hear the stars shifting, their ancient voices crackling faintly like firewood buried under ash. The fire at the center of camp has gone out now, leaving only its scent in the breeze of smoky, comforting perfume that clings to the woven mats and to your skin. The pyramid sleeps behind you, its form pressed into the dark like the edge of a forgotten dream. Your chest rises and falls in time with the hush of the wind across the sand. The earth feels still tonight, like it too is resting. And beneath your ribs, something settles into place. Peace, slow and solid. When the day returns, it brings with it a calm brightness. It's not harsh or blinding, just light, generous and soft, like a warm hand placed gently on your back. You rise without words, muscles easing into movement, breath steady and sure. The basin water is cool, the porridge warm. The routine is the same, but your thoughts are somewhere else. Because today, you've been chosen to enter the interior chambers. It's not something many workers get to do. It's only the most careful. It's the most steady. You feel honored even if no one says it aloud. The air inside the pyramid is different from outside. It's colder, quieter, and carries a weight that feels sacred. You follow a foreman and 2 stone fitters through the narrow entrance shaft, your feet slipping just slightly on the smooth limestone. The walls are close, their surface cool to the touch. Light from a single oil lamp flickers ahead, casting shadows that dance like spirits along the stone. You move through corridors that slope gently upward, the ceiling rising, then falling, then rising again. Eventually, you reach a chamber still under construction, just a hollow square. Its walls bare, its floor half laid with granite blocks. You've come to assist in sealing a lower vent, part of the pyramid's hidden breath. The work is slow, silent. You press limestone dust into crevices, fitting small stones together like pieces of a puzzle. Around you, the quiet is so complete you can hear your own breath echo off the walls. When the job is finished, you sit on the cool floor for a few moments, just to feel the silence. It's not empty. It's full of memory, of waiting, of presence. You close your eyes and rest your palms on your knees, the granite beneath you grounding your thoughts like a tether. For just a moment, you feel as if you're inside the heart of something alive, something enormous, patient, and wise. The walk back into daylight feels like surfacing from underwater. The sun strikes your eyes, and you blink hard, adjusting to its gold. The heat warms your skin quickly, chasing away the chill of the interior. A worker nearby hands you a jug of water, and you drink deeply, the coolness sliding down your throat in slow, satisfying gulps. You thank him and sit beneath a tall scaffold post, letting the shade cradle you while the world moves softly around you. Later in the afternoon, you help stack unused stones along the outer ramp. These are not rejects, just pieces not yet called into use. You lift each one carefully, dusting it off and placing it in neat lines along the base. Each one feels like a word waiting to be spoken. You think of the inscriptions that will one day be carved deeper within the pyramid, spells to guide the soul, to call out the names of gods, to protect and transform. But these stones, these are quieter. These are the ones that wait. As the shadows grow longer and the sky begins its shift from gold to rust to blue, your crew gathers at the edge of the site for something special. A stonemason is retiring. His knees can no longer carry him, and today is his final day on the pyramid. He has worked here for nearly 2 decades. He helped lay the first foundational blocks. And now, he will return to his village with a bag of bread, a pair of sandals, and a polished staff with his name carved in the handle. It's a simple ceremony, no fanfare, no great display, just words of gratitude, passed hand to hand like a bowl of water. You help carry him to the base of the ramp in a wooden chair, his legs wrapped in linen, his eyes bright with tears he doesn't bother to hide. He touches the stone one last time, and slowly he is taken down the hill, his silhouette shrinking with each step, until he is no more than a dot in the sand, then gone. Back at the village, you sit near the fire and eat a dinner of warm barley cakes and stewed lentils, seasoned with garlic and coriander. The mood is quiet but content. Everyone seems to feel the same thing. The passage of time, the slow turn of the work, the understanding that one day, each of you will walk away from the pyramid, but the pyramid will never walk away from you. You lie on your mat again, your body sore in familiar ways, your mind calm. The stars come out slowly like thoughts easing into sleep. You trace them with your eyes, naming the ones you know, inventing names for the ones you don't. You think again of the interior chamber, the way the silence held you. You wonder what the world will sound like when the last stone is placed. Will there be a great stillness? Will the pyramid finally rest? Or will it keep breathing, whispering in ways only the wind can hear? You don't need the answer now. Sleep takes you gently, and the pyramid hums beside you. Not finished, but close. Very close.
The air tonight is rich with memory. You can almost feel it pressing gently against your skin. The stories, the songs, the quiet weight of effort, layered over years. Above, the stars burn low and steady. Not like torches, but like watchful eyes. The fire crackles faintly, and a pot of water simmers nearby, throwing wisps of steam into the breeze. You lie on your mat, your arms folded beneath your head, and you listen, not to voices, but to the pyramid itself. It says nothing, and yet it speaks. In the same way rivers speak, in the same way dreams speak, without words, but full of truth. In the morning, a hush falls over the village before the sun even rises. People speak in whispers. There is movement, but it's measured like the air itself is holding its breath. You sit up slowly and catch sight of the foreman's torch bobbing in the distance. Today is the day, the final day. Not for all work, of course, there are always more tasks, always more finishing touches, but today the capstone will be placed. The gold-tipped stone that will crown the topmost course has been prepared for weeks, polished, aligned, inspected by priests and masons alike. It will not be lifted by ropes and pulleys, not exactly. It has been moved slowly over days along the rising spiral of the ramp, protected under cloth, guarded like a jewel. And now it rests at the summit, waiting. You are not part of the lifting crew. Only a handful are chosen for that, the strongest, the most precise. But you are among those permitted to watch from below, near the base of the final incline. The air is thick with dust and anticipation. The wind is steady but quiet. You can hear everything. The grunt of ropes, the shuffle of feet, the bark of orders from the foreman above. Slowly, the capstone begins to rise. It glints in the morning sun, just slightly. Not a bright flash, but a warm glow, like fire wrapped in cloth. It moves in slow, deliberate increments, carried by sheer strength and endless patience. The pyramid holds its breath, and so do you. When the capstone is finally in place, no cheer erupts, no shouting, just a long, deep silence, as if everyone there understands that this is not a moment for noise. It is a moment for awe, for stillness, for gratitude. A priest steps forward and touches the capstone with both hands. He places a strip of linen soaked in wine across its surface, then lays a small scarab carved from turquoise at its base. He speaks only one sentence aloud, something in old speech, a phrase you don't recognize, but the meaning settles in your chest all the same. The pyramid is complete. You return to the village in the golden light of early afternoon. The mood is not festive, not exactly. It is reverent. Men walk slowly, their heads slightly bowed. Women bring in small offerings, dates, bread, jugs of sweet beer. Children are quiet. The air is soft. A fire is lit at the center of camp, and a large pot of stew is set to cook. The smell is rich and earthy, spiced with coriander and wild onion. You eat with your fingers, your bowl warm in your lap, your body worn and heavy and at peace. That evening, you walk alone up the slope of a small hill near the pyramid's base. From here, you can see everything. The river, the temples in the distance, the boats gliding across the water like insects on glass, and rising above it all, the pyramid, whole, complete. Its surface catches the fading sunlight like a mirror, and for a moment it glows not just from gold, but from memory. You sit on a smooth rock and let your thoughts unfold. You think of all the stones you helped place, the ones you polished, the ones you didn't touch but watched others carry. You think of the friends you made, the ones who left, the ones who stayed. You think of the songs you sang, the tools you passed from hand to hand, the water shared on hot days, the silence shared on cooler ones. You think of the first time you saw the blueprint for the pyramid, a charcoal sketch on a reed mat, held down by stones to keep the wind from blowing it away. You think of the final ceremony, and you think of all the days in between. Not grand days, not famous ones, but the ones made of routine and rhythm and quiet effort. The real building blocks of the pyramid. When night returns, it brings with it a warmth that has nothing to do with fire. You lie on your mat, arms across your chest, eyes wide open beneath the sky. You are not tired, not yet. Just still, just calm, just listening. You hear the wind cross the face of the pyramid and curl down toward the camp. You hear it pass over the fields, the river, the temples. You hear it whisper something you can't quite name, but you know what it means. You are part of this now. Not just the pyramid, but the silence, the story, the forever. And as your eyes finally close and your breath slows, you feel no heaviness in your limbs, no weight in your chest. Just light, just stone, just sleep.